It's certainly a bizarre, bizarre world in House of X. Okay, welcome to the Smurd P video. Today we are looking at House of X issue 5 out of 6. And on the front cover is the Apocalypse walking through a nice, lovely lake or whatever it is. So, I'm not gonna lie, this issue is absolutely bizarre for me. I'm not sure if I like it, love it, or hate it right now, because in some ways it's nice, it's different. In some ways it doesn't feel like the X-Men I'm used to reading. So first of all, we get Lorna and Magneto together, and they just talk about humans in a sense and what they created, which is society, and probably the only thing that they ever did that was good. And he talks about how him and Professor Xavier always felt that what would happen if they didn't have to hide, mutants had to hide in fear and those sort of things. So one thing I'm going to say at the bat that's been bugging me for many issues now is he's constantly got his helmet on, his Cerebro helmet on, all the time. What's that about? And I'm hoping there's going to be some revelation later on. The next part is we get this group of team come together. Ava Bell, Proteus, Hope Summers, Elixir, I probably said that wrong, and Golden Balls. Who doesn't love Golden Balls? Everyone loves Golden Balls. And pretty much, first of all, Golden Balls is up, and they discover that his balls are actually made of biological egg, eggs, basically, in a nutshell. Proteus can manipulate the eggs. And then Hope just adds in some DNA. That's her only role in this. Then Alexa brings it to life. Ava Bell accelerates that life. And then together they hold some hands. All lovey-dovey. And boom. We see what we saw in the first issue, which is basically the X-Men free and coming to life. So next up, they talk, is to me, my X-Men, which is a nice touch. They talk about Cerebro's role in this, that it wasn't just about finding mutants, it was about capturing the essence of a mutant and giving that mutant back. We also discover from all of this, the DNA part earlier, why Sinister's involvement in Powers of X was so important, because without Miss Sinister gathering that, we probably wouldn't have got the DNA bodies to begin with. So Cerebro apparently dies every time he does that, or part of him dies, and your sacrifice was important, and you're all alive, and, well, naked. That's interesting. So they're all naked, they're all fine with being naked, and Storm acts like, get on your feet, mutants. Like, you know, it's a bit bizarre. So, opening pages, Jonathan Hickman doing a great job writing this. Society, and this is what they've become, basically, a society of people. And Storm announces to the world that these are the 5 and the others. They've come back to life. These are the 5 that have given us hope to live, and still naked. I don't get it, why it's happening, and why Kirk's just wraggling his tail in Jean's bits. And it's just bizarre. And then she starts saying, what is your name? How do I know you, brother? So he identifies that it's me. And then it's like, hey, mutant. And they do this with everyone. And it just feels forced. Like, Storm wouldn't act that way. These guys wouldn't act that way. But they're all acting this way. Like, this is perfectly normal, coming back from the dead this way. So the Suicide Run, I guess, makes sense, and everything else is all starting to make sense. Mr. Sinister, etc. It all kind of makes sense, and it's kind of bizarre. So the next part, which baffles me, this whole UN vote. And we carry on getting some of this as well. So they're all happily being naked in the middle of everybody else, which is absolutely crazy. I can't get over the naked bit. We also find out about the resurrection section, so he goes into great depth of how this all works and what each part does, or their role in it. Oh, sorry, so her part was enhancing, resurrecting their powers, blah, blah, blah. Resurrection, the mind, and it's all there. It's, you know, it's quite cool, quite detailed, etc. on what it all means, what it's all about. So, as I was saying, the next bit is quite annoying. So, Magneto went and created a nation for himself. Everybody didn't like it. Scott Summers went and made a nation for himself on Utopia. Nobody liked it. Professor Xavier gets a nation for himself. He's congratulated. And more importantly, he went and manipulated some of the Russian ambassador and the Security Council to get his victory. So I'm not sure if I like this Xavier. I mean, he's always been about, we don't manipulate. I know he's done it in the past and we all hated that, but they all seem to not be fussed about him doing what he's done here. So, not really a fan of this Xavier doing the things that he's doing. Now, I don't know if that's about all these other year 1s and year 10s and Moira, and I kind of find it a bit, this whole universe that's being created by Jonathan Hickman doesn't feel like an X-Men world right now. I like some of the characters and some of the way the story's gone, but I'm not sure I enjoy it completely. So now that they've got their whole nation, they're opening the world to other mutants. And they're coming in fast and thick. They want in. So we got Sinister, who's been apparently manipulated by Professor Xavier Magneto in one of those weird years in Power of X, if you haven't read that. You got Exodus and his team. And then more importantly, you've got Apocalypse rocking up. Now we know in Power of X, Apocalypse and Crackle know each other, because Apocalypse kind of saved his life and they're kind of like talking, etc. And Wolverine's like, you know what, don't get too comfortable, etc. And pretty much there's a thing, you have to submit to the law of the land while you're here. And Apocalypse says, you know what, why would I have a problem with any of this? This is what I've always wanted. Munkind's embracing their rightful domination over the world, and you've achieved this. Basically, they've achieved what Apocalypse wanted to do. Now, doesn't that tell you something? If they're achieving what Apocalypse wanted them to do in terms of dominating the world or asserting some sort of authority over the world, are they the bad guys now? Because that's what they always considered Apocalypse as, a bad guy throughout all of his things that he's wanted to do. He's the bad guy because he wants to rule the world with mutants at the forefront of it. Strongest at the top, weakest at the bottom. But they all seem to be fine with it. They all seem to be embracing it, and we get this lovely moment of handshaking. I don't know about you, but I feel like Professor Xavier's evil right now. One issue to go with House of X. I'm not sure how this ends. I'm not sure if I want to read how it ends, but it certainly seems weird. Or maybe this is just all about creating this nation, and that's where our story carries on. And in that case, we don't necessarily find out who is the villain of this piece. I don't know. There we go. If you are us, then be with us. Come home. Magneto. And then I've got Power of X5 to read and share. And we got House of X6, which is due out tomorrow. And Powers of X6, which is coming out next week. So, very looking forward to them. I'm not saying I don't like John Hickman's work. I've enjoyed reading this. I'm not sure if I agree that this is the X-Men that I want to read. this is the X-Men that I love, because they certainly seem to be going in some different direction, something that I'm not used to. Maybe that's why I'm rebelling against it. Oh well, let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Facebook. My page is SmurredP. Follow me on Twitter at SmurredP. No idea what I'm doing, but I'm there. And as always, embrace the geekiness. Goodbye.